Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Brought to you by Bolen Media. RBP, 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 Ross Bolen.
Better
Welcome back for episode 236 of the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP 236, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, of course, Ross Bolen, here today with my co-host, Mr. Anthony Johnson. AJ, how goes it?
I'm here.
You are?
Hey, we're live right now.
We are, on Twitch.
This is my first live video episode with you.
Do you have like a slight, you know when you're nervous and you have to pee and there's like a tiny bit of pee that's like sort of halfway coming out all the time?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that right now?
I don't get that feeling.
That's
because,
good.
you know, I went to school for this. So I've done my fair...
For training your bladder?
No.
Oh, for video.
For video.
Ah.
So I've done my fair share of just like interviews, video work,
See,
mic
it's
work.
funny, when I went to journalism school at Texas State.
So you should be the same.
No, we did nothing. No video. Like, very minimal. I interviewed like 2 people my whole fucking, I guess more like 6 years of school. Never did any of that shit.
What were
It
you,
was like,
what were you doing mostly?
Well,
like,
this was back
is
in-
it like a lot of writing or?
this was like a good, generation ago.
Yeah.
So it was
That was before we had...
social media hadn't
before we
even
had
like
computers.
No, it wasn't before.
Oh, okay.
computer. But social media hadn't like become what it is now.
True,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It wasn't so all encompassing. Instagram didn't exist yet. Like,
Yeah.
that shit changed the game so much that my entire college experience was pretty much rendered useless in terms of what I learned on the media side of things and in journalism or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, the shit we learned was like how to write a simple newspaper column after interviewing a local barbecue shop owner, like shit
Yeah.
like that, which is like,
And who reads newspapers anymore?
Listen,
at least physical newspapers.
Sure. And I mean, that was the thing. When I was in school, I was like, oh, fuck, am I going to work at a newspaper and make $35K for the rest of my life? Which is like, there's nothing wrong with doing that if that's your life path, but it certainly was not the one that I was going to go for because newspapers are dying. Nobody prints anything anymore,
Yeah.
right? That's
all digital.
Yeah, so it was a weird time period for me to be in school for journalism and then pop out the other side and then 8 years removed be here now trying to run my own media company. But like for real, it was, unfortunately, because of the way things unfolded, like a relatively useless education.
Yeah.
Because it didn't give me, like, it's not their fault, just for the record. Like, Texas State's a great school.
Yeah, well,
It wasn't
no, it
their
was
fault.
it
Just the way it unfolded.
Just the timing.
Zuckerberg and the Instagram guys and Jack at Twitch or Twitter, they fucked everything up.
I mean, I look at the next generation, everything that they're going to have, access to. Just think about the technology that they'll
Bro.
have like 10 years from now,
Okay, I was
5 years from now.
Listen to this shit. I got an Uber yesterday or the day before with
Yeah.
this chick, black chick, living in Austin, who's 13 years she lived in Japan. She moved back here 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's tight.
And she was talking about how their culture is so technological. You know how, like, somewhere in the last 15, 20 years, when America, we had all these issues with our, like, automobile industry crashing and the real estate industry, all this different shit has gone down. We had a recession, blah, blah, blah. Japan jumped ahead of us technology-wise.
Yeah, they've been thriving, actually.
And, like, I mean, here's where it gets weird, though. She was explaining to me, like, the technology got so far ahead and they got so addicted to it and, like, sprung on it that their social side of shit has declined rapidly.
Okay.
So, like, the technology is going up still, but the social shit's going down to the point that dudes who are married and shit are, like, more in relationships with their computer character. They have, like, they'll be married in real life,
yeah.
but then have these fake or not fake, but digital relationships through their computers with
Yeah.
people. And then they have such a lack for physical intimacy that a lot of the male Japanese end up paying for companionship and not even sexual.
Well, they have sex robots over there.
And they
so.
have sex robots, which fucks
They
shit
have
up.
brothels for sex robots.
Which is like, it's still hard for me to wrap my head around fucking a robot. Like,
Yeah.
I watched Westworld and I
Putting
loved
your
it.
piece into some metal.
Yeah.
Sounds very uncomfortable.
I'm gonna tell a
very
story.
painful.
I went to school with, I guess I can't say his name, but I went to school at Westside High School, which we'll actually touch on a little bit later in this episode for high school. And there was on my baseball team, there was a dude who was a couple years older than me, who was an incredibly intimidating individual.
Yeah.
He was enormous. And one time when we were stretching before practice, he threw out a suggestion. He was like, have any of y'all ever, it was like, he said, you take 2 plastic bags, 2 Ziploc bags,
Okay.
and you fill them with jelly.
Yeah.
And then you put them in the microwave.
I know where you're going with this.
And then you put them in under your mattress.
Yeah.
And then you fuck it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Why would I have ever done that at any point in any? I've just never been able to like even wrap my head around coming close to like, look, dude, jacking it with your own hand. At least your hand is alive and attached to your body, and it isn't a sandwich bag filled with edible jelly.
Yeah, but think back when you're like 13, 14 years old, and just those rush of hormones are hitting you all at once.
Oh, I know how it is.
You need to do something like.
You got people out there fucking vibrating toothbrushes and shit. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it.
Not even teenagers, like grown adults. Wait, what'd you
What
vibrate
is the beginning
toothbrush?
of the show? Oh my god. But yeah, no, it was just an interesting conversation because she was like, they have shit like in Japan. They have
Yeah.
shit like these incredible heated toilets with like fucking lights on them and like a bidet that sprays your asshole and like everything is better toilet technology.
I've never used the bidet.
For whatever it's weird.
That makes me
man.
think back to the Bidet Boys segment.
Yeah.
with you and Dave. I remember watching that video. Whoever made that video, like way back.
Yeah.
And I was just crying, laughing, just
Dude,
watching that.
but they have all these little technological luxuries that we don't have, like
Yeah.
the toilet thing, and like the heated floors in bathrooms is like a way
That's
more
tight.
that's way more commonplace.
I wish I had heated floors.
Yeah, that's like a thing there.
Especially
though.
now, like this
we don't
time of
really
year.
fuck with that unless it's wealthy
No.
people. And like part of the thing she was explaining to me is their apartment complex amenities and shit will have this type of stuff. So like
Yeah.
you go move into an apartment, it'll have the most updated toilet, the heated floors. Here you move into an apartment and it's like you're lucky if you're 8 years back
Well, you're lucky if you have a floor,
or a floor at all. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just fall straight through to the level below you or
Yeah.
into the depths of hell.
especially here in Austin.
The middle of
You
the
never
earth.
know.
Molten hot liquid magma.
Hey, you said we're talking about high school later?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I was gonna say something, but I'll save it for that.
Save your
segment.
high school jokes,
Yeah,
AJ.
I'll save it for that.
Save them. If you're new to the Ross Bolen Podcast, almost every episode of our show is broken down into segments, which you can find below with time cues in the description. Now, some episodes are going to have special guests or special topics and be an exception to the rule. They'll be less segmented, but typically the idea with this show is that we want our podcast and all those timestamps and different topics to help you consume at your own pace based on your work or school or whatever schedule rules your life. You don't have to have listened to a single one of the preceding 236 episodes, or 235 episodes rather, in order to enjoy RBP 236. But if you like today's show, go back, get caught up. We've got a huge backlog of 235 episodes for you to soak in and enjoy when you've got the time, so have at it. Follow us on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, where every day we fill up our story with photos and videos sent in by you, our listeners, the RBP gang. We're also on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod, and you can find us on Facebook if you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners. RBP 236 is brought to you by Leesa, your mattress, the most important purchase you're ever going to make for your domicile, your home, your apartment, wherever you live. It doesn't matter. If you're in a studio apartment or a 4-bedroom with 2 kids or some shit, having a fantastic bed for your body and mind to rest on every night is paramount. And Leesa knows how important rest is to a better life. Leesa is the foundation of a healthier, happier you. And to Leesa, a bed is more than just a place to sleep. It's a place for relaxation and rest. All of their products have been thoughtfully designed to go beyond creating a comfortable bed to transform your bedroom into a sanctuary that you actually want to spend time in. Their most advanced luxury hybrid mattress is made with premium foams and springs for enhanced pressure relief with edge-to-edge support. It's the bed I've slept on for over 3 years now, and it is the most comfortable mattress I've ever laid eyes or body on. The hybrid. Leesa believes all people should have access to deep rest and relaxation, and as such, they make it easy for their customers to know they've made the right choice through their social impact initiatives tied to each purchase. Leesa donates 1 mattress for every 10 they sell through organizations that work in causes like foster care prevention. To date, they've donated more than 33,000 mattresses to more than 1,000 nonprofits. Leesa mattresses are made in the USA. In-home delivery and setup is available. Financing is also available. Do not miss out. RBP gang, live healthier, live happier by resting deeper. Order today and get 15% off any mattress for a limited time at leesa.com/RBP. Use the promo code RBP. That's LEESA.com/RBP. Promo code RBP. And keep in mind, you get a 100-night risk-free trial plus free shipping and returns. If your bed sucks, it's time. LEESA.com/RBP. Some announcements, AJ, quickly. First, big shouts to Grant in Canada, not Grant, producer Grant. Good luck going into the playoffs, repping University of Calgary. You've got this shit. Also, shouts to Jack. Also, we have some big-time guests coming up, AJ.
I was actually going to mention that,
Some of whom you have chased down personally, including NBA reporter Kristen Ledlow.
Yes.
We also have Astros pitcher Lance McCullers Jr.
I didn't know we were name-dropping so soon.
We are dropping names now. If they're
All right.
scheduled, we're good. Well, actually, I'm going to drop some that aren't scheduled, too. We're getting Mike Burns of Dad Boner fame. I don't know if y'all remember Mike Burns. Mike is a hilarious comedian, writer, working out in L.A. He's done a lot of really funny shit in his time. He wrote a book at one point. He famously launched the Dad Boner Twitter feed that is hysterical and has been for many, many, many years. Who else? Children's author Jordan Gershowitz is going to be coming on next week.
Yes, yeah.
We've got, anyway, keep your head on a swivel.
You know what? With all these guests coming up,
Yeah.
like for one, this podcast is getting bigger and bigger by the episode, by the week.
Sure.
I feel like going into 2020, we're just going to be on fire. Like, we're just going to bust through the wall.
That's the idea.
And just when 2020 hits, when January 1st hits of 2020, it's over. It's a wrap.
We shall see.
I have an announcement, too.
Yeah.
So back at the beginning of NFL season, right?
Sure.
I made a prediction. I said that the Cleveland Browns were going to win at least 9 games this season.
I remember.
And I kept reiterating that I stand by that take just throughout the season. Even now, when things are completely going downhill for them, it's a downward spiral.
Oh, it's a disaster over there.
But I want to double down on that statement and say that I still stand by what I said. They're going to win 9 games.
How many have they won?
They're 2-7 right now.
AJ.
But look,
They're not going to win 9 games.
No, but listen, here are their next 6 opponents, okay? They're playing the Broncos, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Steelers twice, I believe, and the Bengals. Those are their next 6 opponents.
Yeah, but the problem is
you're telling me
Browns.
they're not. You're telling me they're not capable of winning those 6 games. Those are like bottom of the barrel teams.
They're a bottom of the barrel team. Baker is a bottom of the barrel quarterback. The team is shit. It's garbage. It's trash. It's hot names on a piece of paper with no real leadership.
Let me be clear.
purpose.
I'm not a stan. I'm not a Browns stan. But I just feel like they're capable of winning 9 games.
I love your optimism for Cleveland people.
Yeah.
I just don't share it.
We're a Cleveland podcast.
No, we're not. No. Maybe one day.
We have listeners out there.
We do have, sure. We're at Everything Podcast. Cleveland, you're welcome here as well. Oh, so I have some amends, too. I did not touch on the Clips reunion on Jesus is King.
Oh, I would like to talk about that also.
My
if we're gonna
main
touch on
reason being it ended up, it was fun to hear Pusha and No Malice on the same track.
All you got was 8 bars from each of them. It was just like a little teaser, a little taste.
Yeah, Clips is Malice and Pusha T, not this. Clips is coke rap at its finest. The whole situation with Jesus is King, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to make sense of this album and the Sunday service movement that Kanye has going and what exactly this all entails. But I was getting all these DMs from people like, you didn't even speak on the Clips reunion. Dude, that's not a Clips reunion. Like
I don't consider that a reunion.
That's what you said.
They're
Eight bars each.
Yeah, they only got 8 bars each. And also, too, Push doesn't rap about religion and Christianity and God and all that.
He raps about
so I
coke.
felt like he was out of his element. So 8 bars was probably a stretch for him
Honestly,
to rap about God.
It was
know
the
what I mean?
first time I've heard No Malice, post being Malice, rap about anything other than coke either. So
Sure.
it was like,
I mean, they're very much 2 different rappers now.
yes, they're very
well,
different.
Malice is a pastor now. so.
Yes, they're very, very different. For those of you
One
who
of the
don't
reasons
know
why
the
they broke
story,
up.
Pusha T and Malice at the time, they're brothers by blood. And Clips was their rap duo. That in my argument, the greatest rap duo of all time, probably, arguably, right up there with there's only a handful that you can really hold up against Clips.
Well, I would say Outkast.
Sure, Outkast is one of them. UGK is one of them. They're a handful, but Clips is right there, and for me, they're probably number one. But at some point, Malice found religion or refound religion, and decided that he did not like what his role as a rapper was doing to the world, or what his impact or influence would be as a coke rapper, and he pulled out. He became No Malice. He changed his name. He joined the church. He became a pastor again, or for the first time maybe, and then he's been doing Christian raps ever since. So Clips died that day, and while I appreciate Kanye's very minimal effort to reproduce that magic, this probably wasn't the time or place for that. This probably wasn't the time or place for any of this, but that did not count to me as a Clips reunion.
You know, I heard that Malice actually wrote most of this album. Is that true?
Shut the fuck up.
Like I was listening to the
Nobody wrote this album, right? You didn't have to write any of these lines, did you? This probably took 20 minutes,
there
right?
are lyrics. I mean, there are words.
I know, they're just
there are
very
words in these
bad
songs.
lyrics. Like, I hope he didn't write it.
I was just listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and they were discussing this. They were doing like a whole
Oh
breakdown
my God,
of
he did write multiple
it.
songs.
So that's true?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's not a knock against him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be a tarnish on his legacy.
Yeah.
But he did write some of these songs.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, look,
he can't
I'm
avoid
not.
that. That's going to be under his.
I'm not even judging his legacy against what's going on here, or like really. Look, dude, it's not. That's his life and his thing, and he's made the
I'm
decision.
actually happy for him. That's great
Sure,
that
it
he found
seems like
religion and he, you know.
It seems like he has a path and he knows what he's doing, and I'm not trying to mess with that. I'm just saying
that's great. That's
this was a
fantastic.
Kanye West album that I don't even know how much of it he actually even fucking did. You know, like I get that he did the production and shit, but this is like. Again, people keep sending me tracks from the album that were the version from before he went the Christian route,
Yeah.
and being like, "You got to listen to this. The bars are heavy." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not gonna listen to the version he didn't even put out. I don't like that. Like, I don't. It'd be like if somebody sent you a version of the pod, like, "Ooh, they didn't even put out this episode because it got fucked up," or like, "It's not." I just don't. I take the art from the artist.
Well, yeah, because you didn't want to put that out into the world.
Yes,
for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
Which means that, you know, there's no point in going back and listening
right,
to it.
So then
I mean, I guess you can listen to it, but don't like hold it on like a pedestal.
Right,
or
I don't know.
anything.
It makes me something about it when people try to send me these the versions of Kanye songs or like the Yandhi album. People keep sending me a link. Download Yandhi. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna download Yandhi. He didn't put out Yandhi. I listen to what he puts out. That's not how it works. I don't break into my favorite writer's house and read the drafts of books on his computer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'd be a stupid fucking way to live. So I'm not going to do it with this.
I will say this, though. This is a pretty, like meaningful take for me also. No, seriously.
Hit me.
Like with Kanye West, if this whole Jesus, like, reawakening religious version of him is not genuine, like if it doesn't come from a genuine place and he doesn't actually feel like that he's been saved and that he believes in God, if it's all just like some marketing ploy, then I am 1,000% out on Kanye West.
Yeah, no, that
like
would put
I
me...
will never listen to his music again. I won't buy any Yeezys,
Dude.
none of that. But just because that's something that you just don't joke around with, or
it's unfortunate
to me,
that we'll never be able to know. We'll never know. We're never gonna know.
I'm just saying, for some reason, if we do, and he says in an interview or admits that
I'm 100%
it's just for
with
whatever,
you, but we will
then
never ever know.
I'm just saying, I'll be.
It's
completely
not
out
just
on
that
him.
he's incapable of communicating whether or not it's genuine. It's also that he is surrounded by people who are preventing that from happening in any way, shape, or form. So
also,
it worries me, man. You know what? I'm going to make a comparison really quickly.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
watched LeBron's interview last night after the Mavs-Lakers
awkward
game,
interview?
where Doris Burke, I think it was, asked
Doris.
him, what was it like playing this game with Luka Doncic, this kid that you inspired, that looked up to you, that's clearly going to be one of the greats in the league for a time to come past LeBron's era?
Yeah, for sure.
And LeBron started to answer the question by praising himself.
Yeah.
He said,
this is very
it just
bizarre.
it's like, but here's the thing. It's not that bizarre. This is always how LeBron talks. It's gotten worse and worse year by year, but he has become this weird, like, monstrosity of branding and athletic accomplishment, like, rolled into one, where when he's answering interview questions, he's going through I am a brand. How do I elevate my brand? What do I do to get these stock prices up and sell more shoes? And I get it.
Well, sure, he's not saying what he actually wants to say.
Or it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
There's no real, it's all bullshit. It's all marketing and propping himself up and selling shoes and making money. And that's the problem with the Hong Kong decision he made. And it's the whole fucking thing with him. It's always been the thing.
Well,
he's a great leader on the court.
Yeah.
He's an incredible basketball player. I don't like him as a person.
Yeah.
I cannot root for him because just fundamentally, he's a prick.
Well,
that was a prick way to answer that fucking question. And here's how you end up in that spot. If you're surrounded by yes men who never tell you, yo, you sounded like a douchebag last night. The way you answered that question was fucked. You sounded like a moron. Everybody's looking. if you don't have people around you who will communicate honesty and truth to you regarding your work, your brand, your fucking whatever the fuck you want to look at, however you want to look, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up like Kanye West, with nobody around you telling you, what the fuck are you doing? Or like at any point being like, bro, you cannot keep, like, there's been so many moments in Kanye's career where if somebody wise had been able to get their arms around what he was doing and help him, we would have all been better off.
Well, you think it would be his wife. You think it would be Kim. But I guess she deals with stuff of her. I don't want to say.
I don't know.
I don't want to say that anything is wrong with her, but
listen, I think we all know that their situation, their setup is not normal, right?
no.
Like I think there have been many
there are two
lines in
A-list
their
celebrities.
albums about their open relationship, about that it was his suggestion, about, I mean, they don't really speak to their marriage or what it entails. They have kids together and shit, but like, if you think that Kanye West and Kim Kardashian have a normal marriage like fucking Lucy and Ricky or something, you're insane.
But I feel like there are normal elements to their marriage because they do have kids and they do like the whole couple marriage thing.
And they both do a ton of meaningful work. It's not that I'm like...
they could have like a very meaningful, loving relationship for all we know. I mean,
it just doesn't appear that that's the case.
Yeah.
It appears that it's all bullshit. And
I mean, she did get him out of debt, so...
True, like $45 million.
Yeah, he was like pretty deep in the hole.
And who's to say if that was because she saw the potential on the other side or not? I don't know, man. I don't know their personal shit. It's not my problem. But I'm just saying this. What I worry about is I watched LeBron last night doing that interview, and I laughed for like 45 minutes and watched it over and over because, dude, I was like, what kind of answer is this? I worry that he will get to that place.
Yeah.
If you slip for so many years with nobody giving you the truth, you get so fucking twisted up in your own head that I think you end up like Kanye here. And that's why I like I said, I don't like LeBron. I'm not a LeBron fan, but I also appreciate that as a superstar and representative of the NBA and growing the game of basketball, he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I worry.
I'm curious to see how he's going to be after basketball.
Yes.
Again, like in his retirement phase.
Oh, he's going to be so hateable.
Because
dude.
you know how Kobe's been kind of low-key since he retired.
Kobe's like 4 times more likable to me now. Kobe doesn't interviews. He's putting out movies.
You know what I mean?
Kobe won a fucking Academy Award.
Yeah, so what you're saying is it could be the exact opposite with LeBron, like once he gets out of the league.
When Kobe Bryant speaks, and I watched an interview of his like yesterday on Instagram.
Did you watch that? You know that ESPN Plus show that he had, Detail? Where he like breaks down.
I watched parts of it. Yeah,
that's actually very good. Like I enjoyed.
But when
watching
Kobe
that.
speaks, I know that he means what he's saying.
Yeah,
and that it's not some bullshit like.
Well, he's very articulate. Like he's good with his
He's
words.
very well spoken. He's a very intelligent dude. He's also a complete and total psychopath, and that's part of what I respect about him.
Gets the best of both worlds.
He's one of those people that is so driven by competition that he would have murdered his own family on a basketball court.
Yeah.
And LeBron is a slightly different variation of the apex athlete. He's not quite so killer instinct.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Well,
you can kind of tell nowadays, not so much.
But always with LeBron, it's always been about him at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's the answer to the question last night just made that even more evident. It's like, dude, do you even realize the position you're in anymore? Like, do you even know the impact you have on the world and the kids? And when kids hear you answering that question, talking about your fucking self, they ask you about a 20-year-old kid from Slovenia who made his way, or wherever the fuck Luca's from, made his way here and is now going to be a great.
Yeah.
And you answered talking about how you should get props for inspiring him by playing the game the right way and being the ultimate NBA competitor.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I was just like, that's for other people to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like if you were like trying to ask me, interview me, like, how good do you think your show is? I'd be like, that's not really my call to make. That's the listeners.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Of course, in your mind, you think the show is amazing because you're the show.
Sure,
like you're the one making it.
The point is, I would never pass judgment on my own performance. That's weird.
Well, yeah, because at the end,
he always has though.
Yeah.
He's always been like, I did really great tonight. Or like, whatever. He just makes these. He's just a weird. I want to move on. But, because we're going to talk a little bit more sports and anyway.
Sure.
The Kanye stuff. Look, I imagine that it's going to be. This won't be the last time we speak on Jesus is King. I mean, we've like three episodes in a row we've touched on it, and I imagine it will happen.
I'm sure we're not the only podcast either. That keeps chiming in about this.
I can almost guarantee there's probably a podcast called Jesus is King.
Let's just get Kanye on the podcast. He can just explain himself.
Dude, holler at his email.
Okay, I'll drop him a line.
No, I don't even.
We'll set it up.
I've watched so many podcasts, video interviews with him and other people. I don't even, you know what? I don't even know if I would do it.
See, we just let him talk. We don't even like.
But I've seen that.
Because there's no way to
I've
like
seen that show 40
guide the
times.
interview or like keep
No,
him on track.
he doesn't
he's
listen
just
to you.
completely off the rails from the start.
He doesn't answer the questions.
You just let him just speak.
But that's the thing. I've seen that too many times. I don't even know if I would. Oh, one more men. The population of China is 1.386 billion. Moving on to the first segment, World Series Game 7 experience.
You still want to talk about this?
I have not talked about it at all.
The wounds are still fresh.
No, now I'm healed enough to where I can speak on it.
Okay, because you said you only need like a day or two. For
I
you
needed
to fully...
like 4 or 5, actually. Not 4. What day was that? Wednesday? 3-4 days. Yeah, it took me a few days to get back into a mind space where I could speak on what went down. First off, huge thanks to Kat Rogers and Ryan Presley.
Yeah, that's awesome that she was able to hook you up.
Yeah,
you and your brother.
The Astros middle reliever, Ryan Presley, his fiance Kat went to high school with me. She was on episode 127, West Side for Life. She hooked my brother and I up with my little brother and I up with tickets to the game. So I went to Game 7 of the World Series, and as most of you know, I guess if this is like legitimately your first episode of the show, I'm from Houston, and I'm a massive, massive sports fan, huge Astros fan. So this was a very big deal to me to get to go to Game 7 of the World Series. And I got to sit with Kat in the family section and her whole family, actually. It was really cool.
Dude, those seats were amazing.
The seats were so
Those
sick,
are incredible.
dude. They were so sick, and the whole... Like, it was just, so I'll just break it down, basically. First of all, I wore my custom RBP Throwback Astros jersey.
Yeah, I saw that.
That a listener sent me, like, within the first couple months of the launch of this show back in 2017 or whatever that was. And then it turned out, this was completely unplanned. My little brother showed up to my mom's house for us to head out to the game.
Yeah.
And we're wearing the exact same fucking outfit.
Oh, so that wasn't coordinated.
No, not at all. His jersey had Nolan Ryan's name on the back of it, and mine said RBP. But other than that, we literally had the exact same hoodie on, the exact same jersey, different number and name, over the hoodie.
Yeah.
Different pants, different shoes, of course. Same exact fucking hat. Everything above the waist, exact same outfit, completely unplanned.
The Bolen twins.
And he was like, we need to change, or one of us has to change. And I was like, you know what? No, fuck it. This is it. We're going like this. We're going to sit. It's going to freak people out. We're going to look exactly the same. And then walking into the stadium, man, I've never felt a buzz like that. In terms of
compared to other games that you've been to?
I've been to NFL playoff games. I've never been to a World Series game before.
Okay.
I've never been to an NBA Finals game. But I've been
I would love to do
NFL
that.
playoff games are the one I can compare it to.
Yeah.
It gets so loud in those games and so crazy, and it's just like this electricity in the air when you enter the stadium that gets you jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
And there was that to a degree I've never experienced before at Minute Maid Park, where it's just because you know you're going no matter what happens. And I didn't go in knowing we were going to win this game. As confident,
I don't think anyone did.
As confident as I was after we won 3 in a row in Washington, when we dropped Game 6, I was admittedly scared.
Yeah.
Because the series had gotten to a place where it was this has never happened before. No series in any sport, a 7-game series in any sport, NBA, NFL, fucking doesn't matter, MLB, has ever gone the first 6 games with the road team winning every game.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
Ever. It has never happened.
It's actually a very impressive feat.
It's weird is what it is. And
Yeah.
then it happened again in Game 7. Not a single home team won in the entire series, which is obviously, if it's never happened in 6, it's certainly never happened in 7. And it just had this feel to it. Something wasn't right. It wasn't our year.
Yeah.
It wasn't our time. And that's the way the cookie crumbles on occasion, dude. Like, I'll tell you, I knew we were fucked. The second I sat down and, like, we'd settled in a little bit, Biggio and Bagwell came out. These are 2 guys that were my childhood heroes.
Yeah.
Come out and throw the opening pitch and shit. And Kat turns to me and she's like, "You're about to love me." And I was like, what's up? And she hands me this wristband. And she's like, "If we win, you're going to be on the field." And the second she handed me that, I knew we were going to lose.
You just had a...
I knew we were fucked. I was like, do you know how you just know?
She handed you a bad omen.
And
it
I was
just
like,
a...
nope, this isn't
You
it.
should have never took it.
It just, it instantly knew that it wasn't going to happen, because you can feel, or I can feel shit like that. Like, big moments, big steps, big fucking changes in your life. Like, I can feel them shits out. And it wasn't one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just wasn't like I touched the band and I knew I was never.
You weren't meant to be on that field, man.
I wasn't meant to be on that field.
You're probably gonna like make a fool of yourself.
Honestly,
it might have been for the best.
I've spent like at least 40 45, 50 minutes thinking about like what I would have done on the field.
Yeah.
And it's all sexual.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you what you would
It's
have
all
done.
sexual. I would have put my dick into a piece of the field. The
Okay.
wall,
We're
maybe
going-
the mound.
Yeah.
I was gonna have sex with that dirt.
You're gonna make love
And-
with it.
And nobody would have. That's why I was when I was talking to my brother about it. I was like, you know, it's funny because we could have done whatever we wanted out there.
Yeah.
Nobody in the whole stadium would have been looking at me and him.
Yeah.
They got all these families, wives, kids celebrating in the fucking pack on the mound. I would have been in left field, fucking the Chick-fil-A foul pole.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. It didn't, and I knew it wasn't going to happen the second she handed me the band. It was like this weird moment where
You
just
felt
like
the bad juju reverberate through the
I won't even
wristband.
say it was bad juju because that implies that Kat was guilty. It was just that's the way it unfolded. It just I knew in that moment, like, and I even turned to my brother somewhere along the 5th inning. We were up like 3-1, and I was like,
I remember. Yeah.
I was like,
watching.
listen, man, I don't think we're going to win this game. If we don't score like 2 or 3 runs right here in this sitting, because we stranded like 40 base runners. I was like,
Yeah.
if we don't score like 2 or 3 right here, we're not going to win this game.
Well, that's how the series had been playing out.
Yes.
Like every game was like that. Like if one team got ahead by like a handful of runs, or not even a handful, like
it was fucking
like
over.
3, then that was all it took. You know.
Because it was, I mean, and listen, the Nats were an incredible team. I don't want to take anything away from, in fact, I shouldn't be taking anything away from, with anything I've said so far, from their performance. They were unbelievable. They won this. They were the better team. They were the best team in baseball this year. And what I argued on the episode before that game was that, like, talent always wins out.
Yeah.
I still believe it did. I still believe it did.
Not 100%,
In a
but-
no, sure, but
but mostly.
most
yes.
of the time in a 7-game series, talent will prevail. And the thing is, baseball is this weird, streaky sport where if you go cold at the wrong time, your season's over.
Yeah.
It's done. And we went cold. Nobody hit the ball the whole fucking playoffs. Nobody. Carlos was terrible. The whole team was terrible. Nobody hit the ball. And the pitching we were up against was the best of the best. And then everybody on their team stepped up, and they hit the fucking ball. And that's what it takes.
Yeah.
You hit the ball, you score the runs. And we couldn't do it. We couldn't hit the fucking baseball. And it was still, even in a loss, the coolest sports experience of my life by far.
Yeah.
By far. So much so that it like overshadowed the disappointment and depression of the season being over. Typically, an Astros season ends in horrific fashion, like us losing a Game 7 of the World Series.
It's not even disappointment. Like you
no,
just.
a couple weeks of depression, typically. Like,
Yeah.
Rockets season ends, usually my ass is sad for a little while. Like, even when the Texans end, I'm like, damn, it's going to be a while till we have football again. And the Texans are hell to watch.
Well, they're not too bad this year.
No, they're not bad. They're hell to watch.
Yeah.
Because Bill O'Brien and the coaching is sporadic and fucking irrational at times.
By the way, that probably helped you cope with this loss. The fact that the Rockets are, new basketball season, they're looking pretty good so far. The Texans,
Absolutely.
they're hanging in there.
The fact that we are in that when you make the World Series, it carries you into the heat of the best sports time of the year where
Yeah.
everything else is
So you
going
can
on.
still be optimistic.
Yes.
There's still hope.
You can easily switch to the next league. It makes
Yeah.
it so much easier to move on.
But also too, back to your point, I don't understand why people that go to like Game 7 of the World Series or any Game 7, like the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, World Cup, whatever, these big events, these big sporting events, to where one team is gonna win and one team is gonna lose.
Uh-huh.
Like one team is gonna win the entire championship title, whatever,
Sure.
and then you go and you root for your team and your team loses. And then those people allow that to ruin their entire experience, as if it wasn't still a fantastic, like, once-in-a-lifetime experience to even be there.
Yes.
They let the loss ruin their entire experience. Like, they're like, well, I should have never went, and then they just get totally bummed out
It's part
and
of
angry that they should have never went.
it has weirdly become part of the American sporting experience is that we believe
Like, burn their jersey outside.
Yeah, we believe it's supposed to come with misery, and that it's become our outlet for like bitching, complaining, and anger, and it's weird, like the way our society works with sports and the way we handle like sports disappointment and loss, and we use it to like we take shit from other areas of our life, and we saddle it on our sports teams,
Yeah.
right? Issues with your wife, your fucking kids, your job and shit.
Yeah.
You're watching your team, and all that energy is in the game. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like it's just for whatever reason we pretend it's like a piece of our life.
Do you feel like you do that also? Just
I
all of
feel
your
like
anger and frustration, you
have-
just put it all into sports?
I used
because
to
you
do
also gamble. That's another factor.
I used
to
to
add
do
in
it
there.
a lot more, and it's gotten to the point where I think, to answer your question, like, it's a thing that with maturity you start to learn. And this is admittedly, the first big sporting experience I have had where I walked away and felt like, holy shit, I've started to figure out how to really enjoy sports even if things don't go my way.
Yeah.
Because I am used to being that guy that's crushed and like fucking saddened by what happened on the field. But here's the thing. Here's my takeaway, and here's I'll wrap this up into my Astros experience in 2019.
Okay.
Because one team wins, man, you fall short, you blew it, it sucks, yes. Does it wipe the whole season? No. What the fuck is wrong? No. Does it wipe the entire experience? No. You learn from what you went through. Baseball, and I love this quote from Bregman. I don't have the quote in front of me, so it's not a quote, but it'll be me guessing. He said, Alex Bregman, after the game, said something about, this is why baseball is the greatest game in the world, because it teaches you about life, how to lose, how to handle crushing disappointment and failure. It does. That's baseball more than any other sport I've played, forces you to look at yourself in the mirror. Because while it is a team sport, it is also very based on individual performance. One player hugely stepping up or hugely fucking up can destroy your entire team on a given day.
Think about who's that pitcher that went in, the relief pitcher that just completely like shit the bed.
Oh, which game?
Like in Game 7. Remember, like they were like
it wasn't
AJ Hinch should have never put in that guy
was one of the
because
closers.
he hadn't
he came
one of the
he
closers.
came in and immediately
I forgot his
gave up.
name.
He gave up 3 runs immediately. I
because
think.
that was the deciding factor right there. Honestly,
Arguably, it depends. I mean, listen,
because they didn't put what's his name?
This is one thing that's really pissed me off post World Series is Astros fans attempting to pick the one thing that was to blame. Everybody's either like Team AJ Hinch, where they believe AJ was to blame, or team like Garrett Cole should have been in, or team we shouldn't have put out that closer, or how about team we should have hit the fucking baseball? How about team there were 100 things that went wrong and you can't pick a fucking thing? That's not how it works. But let me finish what I was saying.
Yeah.
The season as a whole was the most fun I've ever had watching a team play any sport ever, because it was such a complete team. The guys so clearly loved, cared about, and enjoyed each other. Maybe sans Garrett Cole, perhaps. I'm not sure. He horribly mishandled his exit. But it was like, you can't take that from me. You know what I mean? The Nats won the series, yes. We're still favored to win the World Series next year already. Like, we're an incredible baseball team built through great strife that fell just short. Is it sad? Does it suck? Fuck yes. Is Garrett Cole gone? Probably. Is Lance McCullers Jr. going to step up and fill that slot? I fucking guarantee it. And I'm not worried about where we go from here. It's just about, like, dude, you can't just, the season ends, fuck it all, it was a failure. You look back on what you saw and watched and experienced, and then you reflect on it. That's the idea. Not like, you don't dump on your boys. But the experience of sitting in the family section, dude, made everything 4 times more intense. Because if you think as like a normal sports fan, you have a lot riding on the game.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was your goddamn brother out there, or your fucking husband,
Yeah.
or your uncle, or your grandpa, or you're not grandpa. It'd be weird if there was an MLB player that had grandkids. But you know what I'm saying? So you're looking around, the seats around you. I'm like, Bregman's girlfriend's 2 seats in front of me. His dad's 4 rows in front of me. Lance McCullers Jr.'s wife's like 4 rows down. Springer's girl's like 6 seats to the left. Carlos Correa's wife is like 2 rows behind me. And you're looking around and like the faces of these people, the intensity, dude, it was part of what made it easier for me, I think. Like, it was a big deal to me. But then I looked around.
But you weren't as invested as they were, obviously.
I was looking around at these people like, oh, shit. This is like generational wealth and shit on the line for y'all. Like, millions of dollars are at stake here. This is a lot that you families have riding on your people, your professionals out there in the field. It's just, there's so much money and pressure.
Yeah.
And then it's like, baseball in particular, it's such a family-driven sport. Like, if you're a young baseball player who wants to excel and you have a great talent, you hopefully have a great family around you, because you're going to be doing a lot of traveling. You're going to need a lot of practice and a fuckload of lessons, and it is not some shit you can handle by yourself. So these families have poured thousands of hours of their lives into the success of this person on the field, who then it all comes down to one game.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
So like Springer would step into the box, and I'd look over at his, I can't remember if they're married, but his girl, and like her face was, it would go from like, yay, baseball, to like, oh my God, shit just got real.
Yeah.
Every time. So like each play, and then just for the record, the best person to watch in that family section or anywhere near it is Bregman's dad. He wears Alex Bregman, who was arguably the best player on the Astros this year.
Yeah.
He wears a black cowboy hat on an otherwise normal outfit, like an Astros jersey and some fucking shorts, and chews on a cigar like he's Bull from Band of Brothers in World War II the entire game. And he, like, couldn't be more the man. Like, he stands up a lot of the time with his black hat on, and people know who he is, and he knows people know who he is.
He probably just has that vibe.
But imagine if your dick spit out Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
I'd have a black cowboy hat on in the stands, too. That's a sick move, though. It's a sick power move as a dad to just get fat and show up in a black cowboy hat and have a fucking cigar to chew on and be like, my boy's the best in the game.
That's tight, though.
It is tight. That's the American dream.
Yeah.
Yes,
Took
way
the words
more
right
than
out of my
playing.
mouth. Yeah.
Fuck playing. Playing is stressful as shit. I want to be the black cowboy hat sporting dad in the stands, pounding beers, chewing on a cigar with nothing to lose.
With the athletic sperm.
Yes, with
Yeah.
the killer sperm. But it was, I mean, I'm telling you, man, that I've never experienced anything like that, where just being in the midst of, like, dude, at one point when Ryan Presley came out to pitch, and he thankfully only had to face one batter because it was like the closest I've come to a heart attack in my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to his fiance.
Oh, yeah, I forget that she was, like, right next to you,
and
right?
his, like, Kat and I were, she was like, now you know what it feels like to be me, because second Presley hits the mound, people start turning around and looking,
At her.
waving at Kat and shit. He's out there.
How does she
He's
handle
gonna
it?
do it. She's just the best she can. Like, I think you get so much experience. She's not brand new to this, so it's like, you know what I mean? She traveled
Yeah.
all year with him. She's seen him pitch a million times. But in the World Series, it's a whole different deal, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It's stressful as fuck. And just sitting next to her and feeling like what that would be like, just for a second, even.
Yeah.
To
Well, you have to go
imagine.
home with that person.
And then you got to handle that too.
You know
It's
what I
like,
mean?
it's
Like
this-
the after
Bro,
effect.
it's a whole thing that you never consider as just a regular sports fan. But like, these motherfuckers are normal people with families.
Yeah,
They
they
go home
have to
after-
continue their life.
And they have to live and like do the off season and like fucking decide what's next.
Deal with people coming up to them like, oh, man, that World Series, right?
Hugely disappointed until the next game,
Yeah.
next season.
I didn't even think about
you
that.
face that loss.
That's a lot. That's
It
a lot.
is a lot. It's a fuckload, and people don't realize, like, it's another one of the million reasons that as a little kid it's hilarious that you're like, I want to be a professional baseball player. They make millions of dollars playing a game. Yeah, but they also have to work their dicks off all year, and it's miserable.
And deal with the constant criticism and pressure.
And travel non-the-fuck stop, and your entire family's rooting you on, and it's like, and then a whole city on top of that.
Yeah.
And then if shit hits the fan and everybody's mad at you, it's a lot, dude.
You're
It is a
public
lot.
enemy number one.
And then the handling of it for like I mean, you know, like Kat and Ryan, they're getting married in at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like you have to go from probably the most disappointing thing you've experienced so far in life
Mm-hmm.
to like waking up the next day and being like, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Like this is it,
To
the season is over. Life is not.
Yeah, to the biggest day of your life.
And then you move forward. Yeah. So then in their case, they have something even more important that they have to look forward to, and you
Yeah.
have to handle the emotion of the loss at the same time. It's just a wild element to professional sports that you don't consider is the family side of it. Like with LeBron even.
yeah.
This is a married dude with multiple kids, and it's part of the reason why I understand how he became what he became.
Mm-hmm.
When he's answering questions, AJ, he's not answering for him anymore. He's answering for his boys, his girl, his fucking grandkids that'll one day be here, the Jordan brand, Nike. You know what I'm saying? There's
Well, he's
two-
setting himself up for the future.
And
And he
there's-
knows that basketball is coming to an end for him.
Yes.
And he's trying to set himself up, him and his family, for what's going to happen afterwards.
For
and
sure.
building his brand, you know,
It's like, yes.
his Taco Tuesday
and
brand.
once he sunk himself into that mindset, that's where we got shit like Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Just garbage, because it's just like, this is...
But in his eyes,
He's
he
doing the
was
right
like,
thing.
this is a money grab.
Yes, in his eyes, he's making the right moves because
Yeah.
it's all about more money, more power,
Like, he's not an
more
idiot.
branding.
Like, he knows what's going
No,
on.
he knows what
he
he's-
knows what this could lead to.
Yeah, but what it worries me is it's like, all right, but it comes back to the money over morals thing. It's like, at some point, dude, where's the line? Because your interview is telling kids all that matters is your performance.
Yeah.
And all that
And
matters
and
is
like
your
his,
life.
His sons, you know, you don't want them
Yeah,
to
That's what
pick
I'm
up on
saying.
that.
It's a shit lesson at the end of the day. So even if I get why he goes that, it's like, it's still not right. It's still not correct
Yeah.
by definition is just not. But dude, it was sick. Walking out of the stadium was very different than walking in.
I can imagine.
It was freezing fucking cold,
And everyone's sad.
pouring rain.
I guess that just adds to the sadness. Just adds to the ambiance.
It was the most miserable walk of shame I have ever experienced in my life. It was maybe I think it might have been that the walk out of the stadium was so bad that I got all the pain out of me in that sequence,
Yeah.
and it made the rest of the suffering easy because
And like you weren't high anymore. Your high was wearing off.
yeah, I was definitely worn off by that point, dude. At the beginning of the game, I was high as shit. By the way, I don't know if I can say. My mom gave me an edible, and I was like, "Thanks,
Oh.
Mom." Because my anyway, I'm not gonna
Yeah, no.
incriminate any more people than I need to. But
Yeah,
long
not
story
your
short,
mom.
my whole mom's side of the family is like super embracive. They've embraced
Supportive?
cannabis culture. I'll just say
Okay.
it. I've got an aunt that lives in California that helps out a lot.
I feel like that's a whole nother conversation.
Shouts
that we
Aunt
probably
Liz.
shouldn't have.
Yeah, we'll probably have it off mic. What the fuck was I talking about?
I think you're about to wrap up the segment.
I don't know. Oh, I was really high at the beginning of the game. Was
Oh,
my
yeah,
point. Yeah,
okay.
so it was, dude, sitting there like 20 rows deep, looking at the entire stadium on an edible, was one of the coolest moments of my life. Like I thought I'd be freaked out, but it was fucking dope. It was sick. It was surreal. I mean, that's something I've watched on TV every year my whole life, dreaming about what it would be like to be there. And then I got to go high, which is like double the fun. Yeah, but walking out of the stadium in the freezing rain with no Uber was brutal. I met a member of the RBP gang in that walk of shame.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and
Oh, you probably recognized the jersey.
yeah, he
That's probably what
recognized the
gave it away.
jersey, and he was. It only made me feel slightly better for like a few moments before I came crashing back down to reality as a result of the freezing rain again. My brother and I had to walk for like 30 minutes before we got an Uber. It was fucked.
Yeah, that's definitely a walk of shame.
It was fucked. But all in all, incredible season. I couldn't be more proud of the team. Obviously, I could be. It would if we won the World Series. But these guys, man, it's a battle. It's like being in baseball with as many guys as you got on the field and as many different decisions are being made throughout the course of a game and the way the management works. It's like the closest thing to like a military unit. And I'm sure there's NFL guys who would argue the other way, but these dudes did what they fought together. I believe that they genuinely cared about each other and they care about their fans and the city in most cases. Pause. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table next year. And I'm looking forward to having Lance on next week to discuss. Lance McCullers Jr.
Is he going to be here in studio?
Yes, and he's an incredible, incredible pitcher who underwent surgery before this season and had to miss the entire year. But he is an ace. He is the guy who will be filling Garrett Cole's hole next season. No pun intended. Sometimes I just say shit and then I'm like, that's not
we're
right.
live, by the way.
That can't be good. And I'm looking forward to talking to me and Lance have played a good bit of Fortnite together and have become like weird internet friends. So I'm looking forward to. I've never met him in person.
Soon to be real friends.
So we'll be real friends. Yeah. So
IRL in real
next
life.
week you got that to look forward to. Astros fans, don't hold your heads. This is a great team. This is a historically great team that our franchise has built for us to enjoy, with several Hall of Famers on it, at least a few, and. You got to find a way to move past what happened. Was it sad? Did it suck? Yes. Do we have good shit to look forward to? Abso-fucking-lutely. RBP 236 is also brought to you by Bespoke Post. This fall, start a new monthly routine that'll upgrade your life and style with a box of awesome from Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post sends guys only the best stuff every month. Whether you're looking to craft your own hard cider or toast perfectly aged fall cocktails, Box of Awesome has you covered. From style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, outdoor gear, Box of Awesome has carefully built collections for every part of your life. I think my favorite Box of Awesome available right now at Bespoke Post is probably the Toast Box. It's a cigar kit. It's got a 10-cigar humidor, a good cigar pack, a leather cigar pouch that comes with it, and that is some manly shit right there, man shit only. To get started, take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories. It's free to sign up. You can skip a month or cancel anytime. Each box only costs $45 but has over $70 worth of gear inside. Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter the code RBP at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code RBP for 20% off your first box. Next segment. We are a pirate podcast. AJ.
Yes.
There is a new all right, have you heard of Netflix's documentary series? It's called Explained.
Oh yeah, I watch those all the time.
No shit.
Yeah,
I have not seen one yet.
yeah, I've watched like a whole bunch of those, dude.
Okay, so you like it.
Yeah,
Okay, it's by Vox, the
yeah, it's
media
very
company.
interesting. Yeah.
So, shout out to my boy Ian in South Africa, a member of the RBP gang, who hit me up last night with a tip. He was like, "Oh, there's an episode of Explained that's just titled Pirates,"
I haven't seen that one.
and I was like, "Oh my god!" And it was late, and I clicked on it, and I got about 10 minutes in before I passed out. But it reminded me, first of all, how long it's been since we've done a badass pirate you haven't heard of, but also
It's been a while.
I just started thinking about what is it about pirate shit, and that makes it so interesting, and that made us into a pirate podcast, and like. By the way, we have a badass pirate you haven't heard of that we're gonna do momentarily. But I first wanted to like touch on why we even dig pirates in the first place. You know how we love mafia movies and shit as a culture?
Yeah,
Goodfellas, The Sopranos, like organized crime movies
Casino.
and TV shows have always been, The Godfather. We love all that shit. We love that shit. It's like part of American culture. La Cosa Nostra, like we love crime that like rages against the machine,
yeah.
against the man,
I like the band also.
and the
so.
band. Which are they doing like a?
Yeah,
I
doing a
saw
reunion.
Dave tweet
Yeah.
out they had a reunion
Doing a
coming or
reunion
some shit,
tour.
which I was like,
Pretty
you gotta be
awesome.
fucking kidding me. They're not as old as I thought they were. Looking like that little motherfucker's still running around on stage.
Yeah,
He's still moving and grooving.
for sure.
He still wear that little suit his sister made him or some shit.
I don't know actually.
Oh, that's AC/DC.
No,
I'm
yeah, I
thinking of
think
AC/DC. Grant's like about to fucking die. Very different band. Very different guy. But that guy's sister made him that little suit.
Really?
Yeah. The
I
AC/DC
didn't know
guy
that.
that he wore on stage all the time. He's still kicking it, right?
Yeah,
They're still out there, right?
the whole band. Yeah.
Jesus. What is this? What's happening? How did we get to that? How did we get to ACD? Anyway, pirates. We love this shit. We love shit. Oh, I said
Yeah.
Rages Against the Machine, and you
Yeah.
said and the music. But that like breaks the law in an effort to make a living outside that law for themselves and family. Like we, for whatever reason, we are okay with that, and we
Yeah.
think it's cool, and we sort of like glamorize, even at the street level, Scarface, Clips, fucking. There's just a lot of American culture that idolizes crime in the name of wealth and fuck the man or
Most
whatever.
of the rap music,
Yes.
honestly.
Pirates were like the OG version of that, like the organized crime on the seven seas, like just out there swashbuckling, taking booty, wrecking ships, pounding rum and shit, like hitting the beaches and bad bitches. A pirate's life is the life for me. It's just a cool ass lifestyle, and most of these dudes only got away with it for a few years and shit because nobody lived very long back then, and your life expectancy certainly goes down when you're living a life of crime. And there's just something about that just carries through. And when you read about these dudes, like the guy we're about to learn about today, they're all fucking nuts. Grant, hit the pirate theme song, and we'll do our pirate of the day.
Yo ho, we're not as famous as Blackbeard,
What a great song.
but we still get mad booty all the same. And not just the treasure kind. Deep from the depths, our legends will rise up. We're the baddest pirates you've ever heard of.
It has been way too long since we played that song.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal, phenomenal song.
Shout out to Sam.
Shout out, Sam, man. Where you at? Our badass pirate you haven't heard of today is Charles Vane.
Okay.
Charles Vane. He was an English pirate. He's another one. You know the show Black Sails?
Yeah.
I have never watched it. I've never watched it. but
I've seen bits and pieces. I never really got into it though.
okay, I saw a preview at one point, and I was like, I'm a pass for now.
Yeah.
But it's a pirate show.
It is. Yeah.
They've introduced like a billion of these characters that previously would have been pirates you've never heard of,
Yeah.
but now a lot of people have heard of them because they watch Black
Yeah.
Sails.
No, it's like real pirates. Yeah.
Which, like, hilariously has become a great resource for me because I don't have to Google pirates anymore. People just sit, every time they introduce, like, a new Black Sails character, people are like, there's another one. And I'm like, thanks. So if you listen to Black Sails, sorry, you probably have heard of Charles Vane, but everybody else, no fucking way. The dude is from England, but he operated in the Bahamas during the golden age of piracy, which I think every pirate we've done so far operated in the golden age of piracy. It's like the only age of piracy where it was
I was
really
gonna say
tight.
I don't know of any other ages.
I
of
guess
piracy.
now we have like
Oh, there's the age of internet piracy. I was
That's very
around. I
true.
was around for that. We both were actually.
Yo, we were pirates for that.
Yeah.
I pirated so much illegal pornography off of every fucking possible app that there was at
Well,
that
I didn't
point.
do that. I downloaded music because I had my own CD burning business at school.
Were you anti-crank even back in the Napster era?
Well, no, it wasn't that. It's just I don't know. I was mainly downloading music.
So you never did the thing where you'd hit Napster and you'd line up like 8 different pornos and then you'd leave the house for like 4.5 days and come back and see if one of them successfully got through?
No, because we had a family computer.
So did I.
We shared that with my parents.
So did I.
That's very risky.
It was a gateway.
How'd you hide that?
I didn't.
You never got caught?
Oh, no, I for sure did. I for sure did. Absolutely. I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad. Just disrespectful. Kids, teenage children are disgusting.
Yeah.
Just coming all over the house. What the fuck? Disgusting. Disrespectful. Charles Vane, born in the United Kingdom, in the Kingdom of England around 1680. A hot minute ago. One of his first pirate ventures was under the leadership of Henry Jennings, and Jennings' attack on the salvage camp for the wrecked Spanish 1715 treasure fleet off the coast of Florida. By 1717, Vane was commanding his own vessels and was one of the leaders of the Republic of Pirates in Nassau. Nassau is so sick. That's where I went on my honeymoon. Most of these badass pirates we've done are also, it's interesting to me, I didn't realize this, but a lot of them started out as crew members of other famous pirates and then rose up through the ranks or like used that as their stepping stone to get their own ships or their own deal going. Or
That's
whatever.
how it goes, man. You got to grind.
That's true. It's very true. It's how it works in fucking pretty much everything when you really think about it. Like, everybody has to be grinding or working
Even to be
on
a
somebody
pirate,
else's
you have
shit
to
at some
hustle.
point. Even a fucking pirate. It's weird as hell. Unlike some other notable pirate captains of the age like Benjamin Hornigold or Samuel Bellamy, both of whom have been badass pirates you haven't heard of in past episodes, and both of whom are pretty fucking famous at this point, thanks to this show. He was known for his cruelty, Vane was. This guy, he wasn't the best about how he treated his captives, which is a thing. When you pirate ships, like you jump, you jump over to the other ship or you rope over to the other ship or whatever, and you fight.
Yeah.
And then when enough dudes have died or when they surrender or whatever, it's your ship, but then you got to deal with the captives.
Yeah.
Now, they either join your crew. I only know this because of pirate video games. They either join your crew or you have to kill them. And this dude was not fucking around. He tortured everybody. Beat the shit out of them, tortured them, killed them. He wasn't great about the way he treated the sailors from the other ships. You did not want to be on a ship that this motherfucker, Charles Vane, came swinging over to because he wasn't very nice. But in February 1719, goddamn, Vane was caught in a storm in the Bay Islands, and he was marooned on an uncharted island. I feel like this is a story for so many of these guys. They end up stuck on a fucking island somewhere. And then he was discovered by a passing British ship and arrested. Which sucks. What was he thinking? Was this a castaway situation where he was out on the beach like, for the love of God, anyone? And then a ship finally came by, and it was British, and they were like, you're under arrest.
He's like, oh, not you.
It's like,
somebody
fuck.
else.
And why didn't he sprint back into like the coconut trees with the monkeys and get the fuck off the beach? I don't know how he
At that point, he was probably just like, yeah,
Fuck it.
This is it for me.
Yeah, I guess so. But
I had a good run.
anyway, he eventually got hung. They hung him. That's what they did to all the pirates. And that was Charles Vane, your badass pirate that you haven't heard of. Today's episode of RBP is also brought to you by one of our brand spanking new and squeaky clean sponsors, Truman's.
Ooh.
When I'm walking down the cleaning aisle at a grocery store, it always feels like a complicated chemistry lab. Like there's too many different products, hundreds of different cleaners and for different surfaces, I don't know what the hell is going on with all the different colors and scents. It's too confusing. It's a pain in the ass, and I'm sick of it. And that's where our sponsor, Truman's, comes in. It's the coolest cleaning company on the internet, probably the entire universe. Truman's is decluttering the cleaning aisle with 4 non-toxic cleaners for your entire home, shipped free to your door. This stuff is incredible. The way it works is super cool. When you get your shipment in, I got the starter kit. I recommend it so that you can try out all 4 cleaners. It is so much better than any other cleaning solution I have encountered. It is seriously changing the world. To get started, you order your Truman starter kit and try all 4 non-toxic spray cleaners for 45 days, risk-free, plus free shipping. It comes with 4 reusable bottles, 4 amazing refill cartridges, and special deals on their refill plan. Their non-toxic sprays feature an all-purpose kitchen cleaner. All right, so you got the kitchen cleaner. You get a glass and technology cleaner. You get, where am I? Here. Oh, all-purpose bathroom cleaner and a floor cleaner that works on all hard flooring surfaces. You just add water to Truman's refill cartridges, and you reuse the same bottles. So you're saving a ton of space, a ton of plastic, and money, and that's why Fast Company honored them as a world-changing idea. Tackle all of your home's tough cleaning needs today the smarter way with Truman's. You get 50% off your Truman's starter kit by visiting Trumans.com. Enter the promo code ROSS at checkout. That's TRUMANS.com, promo code ROSS for 50% off your starter kit. Truman's, a better cleaning experience. AJ, we got one more thing to talk about.
What's that?
We got RBP merch coming down the tube.
Oh, yeah?
RBP merch. Actually, we have two more things to talk about, but very quickly.
Please do tell.
If you want more RBP outside of our 2 regularly scheduled weekly episodes, there's only one place to get that, patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. But even more importantly, in my opinion, and by the way, everything on Patreon's ad-free, and if you signed up today for November, you get our entire backlog for October, August, July, June. Even more importantly, though, on Patreon, we have our first ever batch of RBP merchandise coming out very, very soon. Multiple shirts. It's looking like 3 to 5 different designs. We're going to have hats as well. And when they come, that first batch, at least, is only going to be available on Patreon to dues-paying members of the RBP gang, partially as a way to say thank you for the support, for everybody that has pitched in and made this 2019 so much easier to get through for Bolen Media and the Ross Bolen Podcast and everything that we have going on here. But also in part because I'm testing the waters a bit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I want to see what kind of action if you want RBP shirts, hats, if you want stickers made, a ton of y'all have asked me for stickers. This is the time to holler at patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast going into the end of the year so that you can get access to that first batch of merchandise that we do. Now, I love all of y'all, and I want all y'all to get swag, but we need more Patreon folks. Like, we're giving everything we have going into 2020, right? We're going to be doing video of every episode. We're going to be doing live streaming on twitch.com/BossRollin' like we are today.
More guests.
We're going to have crazy, badass social media recap videos from our incredible intern team that AJ has built. We're bringing the RBP merch out. We've got mad guests lined up. Shit's going to be popping, but we need more of you on Patreon. The more of you on Patreon, the more freedom it gives me to focus on cool shit like lining up guests and getting merch made and available to everyone, and stuff that's not only going to ensure that the show continues to get better and better, but also keep growing going into next year. So, as always, support our sponsors above all else, but if you've got $5 to spare a month, which you do, I need you. No bullshit. I need you. If you can spare the 5 spot, if you've got 5 on it, come through patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. And our final segment, Deadspin and Drew Magary.
Okay.
AJ, have you followed any of this Deadspin story?
A little bit, vaguely.
You're familiar with Deadspin, though?
Yeah, I know Deadspin.
It's like, I would argue, is a very...
I know a lot of people are jumping ship right now.
Yeah, very liberal, a more left-leaning sports site.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
All right, like not a lot of right-wing people like Deadspin.
Yeah, no,
Republicans
very
don't
true.
like Deadspin.
Yeah.
And Deadspin doesn't like Republicans.
They made that clear.
And over the course of its existence, it has gone through a lot of tumultuous times. Deadspin has. It's an example of yet another media company or brand that is owned by venture capitalists and billionaires and random dickheads that don't give a fuck about the actual news or anything that's happening under their shit. Which unfortunately has led to where we are now, where Deadspin is essentially dead, as we know it. Everyone is quitting or has been let go. They have been told to stick to sports, because what they would do is spin every fucking story off into something else.
Thus their name.
Sure. Yes. And very well done. But they don't want to stick to sports, so people started quitting. They're being told, like, all their other shit didn't get any clicks. It turns out maybe it was. If you want to read about everything that's gone down with Deadspin, there is more than 1 million columns.
Literally, all you have to do is just Google it.
It is chaos.
You'll see everything.
One of the good ones that I read, Deadline did one called Deadspin Loses Veteran Writer Drew Magary as Website's News Flow Runs Dry. So remember, Deadspin, formerly Gawker-owned sports website, and it has become like the most chaotic example of media gone wrong in our time.
You know, Gawker is actually the media outlet that broke the Hulk Hogan story, I believe.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Wasn't it on Deadspin?
I want to say it's Gawker.
Maybe. But then they got sued into oblivion as a result.
Yeah.
And that was like the beginning of this whole thing.
That sex tape.
Yeah, it was the beginning.
Banging his best friend's wife.
Did you ever watch that?
No, I didn't watch it.
I watched it.
You watched the whole thing?
I watched it.
You watched Hulk Hogan?
I'm not proud of it, but I was like, oh, God, do I have to watch the Hulk?
You wanted to see how big his piece was, right?
You don't
see if he really was Hulk Hogan.
It wasn't even about his piece. It was just about, look, man, it's Hulk Hogan. Somebody tells you Hulk Hogan is on camera fucking somebody, I don't know how you don't watch that. I just don't. But that's the kind of person I am. I'm sick like that. Like, I don't know how you could go through life not at any point Googling Hulk Hogan sex tape.
Yeah.
But
well, you can say the same about the Kim Kardashian and Ray J.
That shit still trends every day. It's incredibly annoying. I'm like, I watched this 9 years ago. Stop putting it on my screen. I'm good.
Anyway, yeah, Gawker, Deadline.
But yeah. So everything that's happened there is a real shame because it's like I don't agree with either side, neither the ownership nor the journalists, because there is clearly a level of delusion and irrationality for both of them that I don't think makes sense. Listen, their business is fucked.
Yeah.
It's fucked. And it's been fucked for a really long time. It's only just now coming into the light, like, why? And again, if you want to read about Deadspin and the fallout and all that, go Google it. But the more important thing to me here was that, like, one of my favorite writers, and it's one of the guys that, like, one of the original, like, Twitter guys I followed, one of the OG content creators that I really enjoyed, kind of like what Bill Simmons is to a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
For me, was Drew Magary.
Okay.
And he, I've gone to his book signings in Austin. I fucking met him at Book People. We had the same literary agent, Bird Leavell, represented both. Might still represent him. In fact, I should probably hit him up to see if we can get an interview with Drew. But there you go. Add another one to the list. We'll holler at Drew Magary. But what I did not know about Drew, first of all, great author, great writer. He used to do this incredible column on Deadspin called "Why Your Team Sucks." We would break down before each NFL season why your team, all 32 teams.
Yeah, I remember reading those. Yeah,
why your team was going to suck dick
really
that year,
good.
and they're hysterical. They were incredible. But he also wrote one of my favorite books ever. It's called The Postmortal, and then he wrote another novel called The Hike. That's also very good as well. But the thing I didn't know about Drew was that back in May, he announced or wrote a piece called what is it? This is how it's. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is the wrong one I'm looking at here. He wrote a piece called. Where the fuck is it? I'm trying to find it here. 1 second. Oh, Drew Magary, blah, 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 blah. The Night the Lights Went Out. Sorry, excuse me. On the Concourse, which is a piece of Deadspin. Again, this is one of the things that was really weird about Deadspin. The URL for this column is theconcourse.deadspin.com/The Night the Lights Went Out. And it's like, I'm just not, why are there so many different goddamn URLs? And what the hell is Kinja? What the fuck is this? What's happening here? I've always been so confused. But Drew Magary had a brain hemorrhage that nearly killed him. And I didn't ever hear about this in any fucking... I don't know if it's just because it was the period of time where I was going through, like, all the shit with the company I used to work at or whatever the fuck, starting my own company or, like, the chaos of life. But I somehow entirely missed, like, one of my favorite writers ever nearly dying. And he wrote this story about it and published it several months ago, and I missed it entirely. This dude had a brain hemorrhage at a Deadspin Awards event.
At the event?
He was hosting it, I believe, even. And
then what? And then it just happens?
He hosted the Deadspin Awards December 5th of last year. Okay, then he goes over to karaoke bar for the after party, and I'm assuming gets good and shit-faced, and then he collapsed.
Oh, he just falls over.
Everybody assumes it's because he's drunk.
Well, yeah, that's what I would have assumed.
So people are like, oh, he's fine. He'll be okay. Let him sleep it off.
Give him some water.
Well, it turns out, no, he, first of all, he fractured his skull when he fell because he didn't have anything to brace himself. But
so
also...
his head just smacked the ground.
And his brain hemorrhaged. He actually had a brain hemorrhage, and there was, blood coming out the back of his head, and he puked all over a guy. And he wrote this whole story about the experience. And, it's called The Night the Lights Went Out. And I had no idea that we almost lost Drew Magary, Magary, I don't fucking know. Everybody says it different. But until this Deadspin shit broke. And I'm like, oh my God, almost lost my favorite writer to a brain hemorrhage. And it just blew my mind. So I read this whole story last night, and it is fucking intense, dude. This whole shit is wild. And it brought me back to, like, it's so easy to forget that you could die at any second. You know what I mean? Or that your life could be irreversibly changed in a second. Yeah. Not by your decision.
I mean, you know that firsthand. I mean, just with everything that you've been through throughout your life.
Oh, dude, but like the brain thing is the thing that is crazy to me, though, because like I had my first ever girlfriend. Shouts out to Tanya. She had what's it called? She had an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm, and nearly died.
Which is also very serious.
Same type of deal. A lot of people do pass away from it, and she's still recovering. And this was years ago. And like the night before she had this, or the day before she had this aneurysm, I remember she tweeted that this is the happiest I've been in a long time. And I remember reading that tweet and being like, damn, good for you, girl. Next day, brain aneurysm. And it just, I will hold that and carry it forever because it's just such a good reminder that, like, all this shit, the hustle and bustle, the fucking grind, all the energy we put into all the things we do trying to figure out this life and this world and our families and our friends and money and what the fuck do we want to do with our career, it's just easy to lose sight of the really important things that are there for us every day. And the people in our lives. And that you could lose. It's not just about you could die any second. You know what I'm saying? Or me.
The people around you and close to you.
Yeah, like you and or one of us or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
like we could leave the studio and like, who knows, car accident, whatever.
You don't know. And I know that's not a revolutionary thought. It's just one that I think is important enough to bring up as many times as possible. And for me, I think that's at least like once a month I need to talk about it.
Because it's like, for instance, like with you, if you get hit by a car, you die today, leaving this studio.
Right.
That's RBP is done.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, knock on wood.
If
RBP is done, that's it.
Yo, but if I get
everything
hit by a
planned
bus,
in the future, guess everything that was whatever was gonna happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. You're gone.
If I get hit by a bus, I demand someone legally change their name to Ross Bolen and continue the show. It'd be cool if it was like 4 people.
Are you saying you want me to do that?
I want 4 humans, you included. You have to do it. Legally change your name. Do like a face-off thing. Cut off my face, and you put it in the studio, and you wear it like a mask when you record only.
Oh, okay. Kind of like Leatherface.
Exactly like Leatherface, except Ross face. And then that's it. It'll be fine. My legacy lives on. No one will be creeped out by that. It'll be totally normal. The downloads will stay the same and continue to skyrocket. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Anyway. Shouts to Drew Magary, I guess. Like, I just had no clue, man. This blew me away. I literally figured this out like last night, right before going to bed. I was like, holy shit. And
dude, we got to get him in here so you can talk to him.
I'll text Bird when I leave and
That'll be a fantastic guest to talk about that. And
dude, yes.
I guess the
Deadspin shit.
All the other questions that you probably have for him.
What also got me thinking, I was like, it's just, fuck it. I'm not going to get into that. We got to leave.
Yeah.
But anyway, read about Deadspin, read about the Drew Magary thing. It's not just that it's an interesting story, and it's something that we'll probably discuss a little bit more next week, the Deadspin side of it, the media side of it, and how it pertains to what I'm doing and what I believe. It's crazy shit because it's like, for those of you who watch Succession, the HBO show, by the way, which we covered on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, our television and film podcast here at Bolen Media, it is jarring how real this situation is. Like, Succession paints up this world where these billionaires, these fucking old rich white dudes who don't give a shit about anybody, own all the media companies, and that is very much like a reality that we have to face here in the real world.
Yeah.
But it had been a long time since I'd seen like such a jarring real world example of how fucked everything is. This is really bad. This shit is very bad. And to make matters much more hilarious, before they left, someone that works at Deadspin started scheduling all these anti-Deadspin tweets to come out through their Twitter account and all these old-ass columns about, like, so you know how they said stick to sports?
Yeah.
So they started posting, like, cereals ranked or on herbs, the least sportsy stories of all time.
Like BuzzFeed-type articles.
And I believe that this person who had access to Deadspin's Twitter account has also changed the password so that the ownership cannot access the account.
That's great.
And the top tweet that went out literally 3 hours ago and is still sitting there from Deadspin is titled, Deadspin's audience numbers don't support stick to sports mandate. And it's a story from the Los Angeles Times. It's not even from Deadspin.
That's great.
But then you go down and you get Serialist Ranked, and you get On Herbs, you get The Adults in the Room, which is just like the former, I believe, editor or former high rank, Megan Greenwell, shredding everything about it. It's like, it's the most bizarre media thing I've seen unfold, and I have been part of one of the most bizarre media unfoldings in the last 10 years, probably.
Yeah.
So it's just a crazy story that y'all need to go like enjoy and watch as it continues to unfold over the next few days. Because
it's a crazy industry, really.
bro, it's getting
the media world is
it's insane. It's because nobody knows what they're doing.
It's a very like cutthroat environment for sure. Like once you're in here, like you gotta know what you're doing, and you gotta like. There's a lot to be careful and to look out for,
and you better be paying attention because shit changes so quick.
Yeah, if like you don't keep up with it, if you don't keep up with the times, then you're
done.
Dead to rights.
You're fucking done. Anyway. That'll do it for today's show. Before you head out to take on the world, though, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, if you want extra RBP, more RBP, there's only one place to get it, patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Again, if you signed up right now, what is it, November 2nd, you'd get our entire backlog of October. We've got great November stuff coming as well, but I'm just saying, immediately you gain access to all of our ad-free premium content that exists on Patreon from prior months, like October and August and July and June. Plus, most importantly, if you want merch, if you want T-shirts, if you want hats, if you want RBP gear, that's going to be the only place you can get it, at least up front. Patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. In 2019, you're not going to be able to get RBP merch anywhere but on Patreon. Join, support what we're doing, grow the gang. Also, speaking of growing the gang, you have 2 legal obligations that you've been saddled with as a result of having listened to this entire show. The first of which is to rate and review on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify or on SoundCloud, wherever you want. I don't care. That's great. I appreciate you listening. Thank you. But I need you to rate and review on Apple Podcasts because it's still the biggest podcasting platform. It's the one that allows us the most exposure by climbing the charts, and just the ratings and the reviews are important. So 5 stars, 2 or 3 sentences about why you like the show, and boom, you can check that box and move on to number 2, which is to tell one person, whether it's a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, any one individual that you believe would like this podcast, enjoy this show, want to be a part of the RBP gang, share it with them. I don't care how you do it. Send them a Spotify link to your favorite episode. At them in one of intern AJ, or no longer intern AJ, excuse me.
I'm no longer
Mr. Anthony Johnson, or one of our great interns that he manages, one of the videos that they've created for us on social media. Whatever the method, share the show with one person. That's your other legal obligation. Then you can check that box, and I'll call off the lawyers, call off the dogs. We won't have to see each other in court, and we can both live long and prosper. Follow us on Instagram, at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter, at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook somewhere if you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners, and you can follow me, Ross Bolen, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBOLEN, at WR Bolen. Also listen to my other show, television and film podcast, titled Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. AJ, where can we follow you?
As always, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at capital AJ.
Spell it.
That's spelled CAPITAL-AJ.
Yeah, and that will do it for RBP 236, recorded and produced by Mike Moody and Grant Davis at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We'll be back next week, Monday, I believe, for episode 237, RBP 237, coming Monday. Podman gets paid, strength and honor, gang, gang, gang. Peace be with you and also with you.